Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. And before we get into talking about Doctor Who, Season 10, Episode 7, let me tell you a little story. Just in general, I was having a conversation with my mother. And the funny thing is, when you talk about history, I was talking about the things that I didn't understand, which, for one, was I don't even understand how my parents ended up together. They are so opposite. Everything about them is opposite. And not that I was asking my mom, like, what is her type of dude? But I didn't see it. Now, part of that is my own personal bias because I know this man. But if I peel back the layers and I look at the aesthetics, the way that my father looked, then yeah, I could see that he was my mom's type of dude. My dad had a kind of super light skin Billy D kind of thing going on about him when he was young. You know, he was a light-skinned dude. He was very proper, had a head full of curly hair, looked like a missing DeBarge. So I could see, he was, the early version of I'll be sure, I'll be damned. I could see why my mom liked him. Now, on the other hand, from knowing him, I don't see what drew him to my mom except for the fact that she would be a polar opposite. My mom didn't have a sycophant type of bone in her body. She didn't agree to anything. It's not that she was hard to get along with. My mom was a very loving, very caring, very nurturing person. So I don't know what the early days of their relationship was even like. All I saw was the late years when it was hell in a handbasket. But I think that my mom was different from every other woman that probably came at my dad. Or sometimes you get caught in those things where, you think you want someone to worship you. I don't know. All I know is that love in all of its glorious forms should be consent. We'll talk about it. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, Noop from the Ville. And we're here to talk about Doctor Who, Season 10, Episode 7, The Pyramid at the End of the World. Now, I know I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying it until I get it right. I really am trying to do much shorter recaps. I figure if you're here, you've either already seen my reaction with Centel on his page, and if you don't know, go into the description and it'll be a little section that says episode this analysis is based on. It'll be that. Or you watch the episode and you want to see my deep dive on it, which is really, they're not even really deep dives. They're media therapy deep dives. You'll see. Now the thing is, this episode is a continuation of last episode of Extremists. It's actually kind of a 3-part trilogy. So this is the middle part that they call, it's part of the Monks trilogy, is what I understand. So Extremists was part 1. This is part 2. So as we caught up with this, remember the doctor emailed himself on the sonic sunglasses, so he knows everything that's going on, his real life body, but he's still blind. Nardo knows, but Bill doesn't know. He hasn't told Bill. So there's a fake country called Turkmenistan, and a 5,000-year-old pyramid pops up overnight. They come looking for the president. Not the president of the United States. Apparently the president of the earth, which is the doctor. The monks use every clock in the world to tell them, listen, you ain't got but minutes to make up your mind, and you know, oh, we about to do something. They're gonna invade. So the demon, that whole book, the Veritas, demon's ready to invade. It's like, yeah, okay, we ready. We figured out all we need to know. Let's go on and take this place over with. But the thing is, they know in order to rule properly, in order to make people not rebel, not have any rebellions, the people have to consent to being ruled. So the monks tell the general of the UN, the general of the United States, the general of, I think, China's forces, and the general of Russia's forces. Those are like the three biggest armies on the world. Listen, we can come in and we can save your people, and we got medicines, we got all types of the good, but we gonna run all of this. You just have to give us your consent. You say you speak for the United States, you speak for Russia, you speak for China, you speak for the UN, for a bunch of other nations. You have to consent to giving us rule over you. Now, if you don't, there will be consequences. Now, one of the big problems about when the doctor shows up, even though they went and got him, is the president of the world. A lot of people who are outside the loop that know who the doctor really is or whatever, outside of unit and stuff, or people that work with unit, they don't give him the respect that he should be due. And it pretty much became a point. The UN, the Secretary General of the UN, he agreed. He said, I'll give you consent. Listen, shut this shit down. I'll give you consent. But when the monks went to go talk to him, they said, you trying to be deceptive. That's not how you really feel. And he disintegrated on the spot. And that changed everybody. They was like, oh, I don't know. The doctor's like, don't make no deal with them. You don't know what the deal is. Listen, you're going to sign a blank contract. You about to sign a blank contract to work on Bad Boy Records. You don't know what's coming on the other end of that. You're going to be doing more than going to Junior's and getting cheesecake, I'm going to tell you that. The doctor figures out that there's something else. One of the reasons why now is the time to invade is because something else is about to happen somewhere that is going to wipe out all life on Earth. And the monks are like, listen, we can put an end to all that, but you need to consent now. The doctor is like, no, we got to figure out what it is. And it's two scientists. One of them, I don't know if he stayed out late, he didn't get no sleep, he's sick, he partied or whatever. They create a super bacterium because he wasn't paying attention to what he was doing in the lab. And the super bacterium basically breaks down all living organisms. It kills everything. And it's the way that the lab that they're working in, it's about to be vented into the atmosphere. And once it gets into the atmosphere, it's going to kill everything on Earth. So the monks, the little alien zombie monks, they said, listen, we'll shut all that down, but you need to consent when you run out of time. We can shut it down. The doctor eventually figures out where it is. And once he, does what he does and saves the day, he actually ends up getting trapped in the vault with it. And the vault has a mechanism where he can get out, and he just has to roll these dials to do, it's like the world's biggest combination lock for a locker. Like, I've never seen a combination lock that big. It's not even a digital keypad. It's weird. But the doctor's still blind, so he can't see the numbers on the keypad. Nardo end up passing out because, remember, even though he's part cyborg, his human parts got a little bit infected with the bacterium. So he's forced to admit to Bill that he's blind. That's why he can't see. That's why he can't let himself out. So because Bill is the doctor's companion, she represents a doctor, she offers her consent to the monks because she says the world needs the doctor. And I don't care what it takes, you have to save the doctor. Not that there's 8 billion other people on Earth. The doctor needs to be saved. and she consents. The monk said yes because she did it out of love, and they agreed to take over the earth. The doctor regains his vision. He escapes the lab, but he knows what Bill has done. He didn't want her to do it. He screamed at her to not do it, but she did it anyway. And the monks assert their control of Earth and fade to black or to be continued. You know that I love my quotes. I only have one today. And this quote is from Simone Weil. And she says, "To love purely is to consent to distance. It is to adore the distance between ourselves and that which we love." And for today's media therapy deep dive, I'm calling it Love is Consent. You know, the idea that love being consent is, it emphasizes the idea that a healthy relationship is built on a mutual agreement and respect. Now, in this episode, the monks insisting that you had to consent, that's not a mutual agreement. It gives the appearance of a mutual agreement, but it's not. And it's not built on respect. It's built out of fear, which is one of the things that should tell you that it's going to fail. But, you know, you don't know that in the time. You know, when you hear the word consent, especially with everything that's in the news, you think of sexual. And we're just talking about love. We're not talking about what is sexual, about being consent. Thing is, you can't control who loves you or even how they love you. But for love to be pure, you have to be able to love something from a distance. And I said something, not someone, because it's very easy to listen to this topic, look at this topic, and think that we're talking about one-on-one relationships, intimate relationships. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the world today. It's polyamorous love and all sorts of different things going on. Any way you slice it though, love has to be consent. Consent is active, it's not passive. Love does not mean the absence of no. It has to be a clear, enthusiastic yes. You know, if you have a little bit of discernment about you, you can pick up on body language and you pick up on stuff. And I can say I am guilty of that too. I did not pick up, you know, when my marriage was ending, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't pick up on the signs I should have picked up on. I didn't see the red flags. And, you know, there was a time when it was a clear, enthusiastic yes. And then it goes to yes. And then it goes to, I guess so. You know, to a why not? To maybe, and then not really feeling this anymore, you know? So it is a gradual progression unless you do something outright that, like my kids would say, give somebody the ick. Unless you do something outright that you know a person ain't really fooling with that. Like this particular subject, the alien monks, they started off with the ick. Our lives are at danger. The fate of the human race is at danger. I will save you, but only if you consent to letting me rule and subjugate you. What kind of choice is that? Because love is about choice as well. The thing about if it's true consent, consent can be withdrawn at any time. You can take it back. No. You know, and it's unfortunate. It's like marriage. I consented. When you consent, your consent is when the person, the pastor, whatever, when they ask you and you say, I do. You consented. But they give you, you know, the rules, the parameters. You know, do you choose to love this person in sickness and in health, and, you know, for rich or for poor? And most people get up there and they say, yes, I do. There's a bold-faced lie. No, you don't. Nope, not in good times and in bad times. You loved me in good times. You loved me when I was on the richer side, but when I start going towards the poorer side, ooh, I don't know if this is gonna work out. You know, you loved me when I was healthy, but when I start getting sicker, it's like, You know, for every individual, for every situation, they're different. And love can look different, and it's okay. There is severe like, but it's not love. There's most obviously lust, but that's not love. Bill saved the doctor because she loved him. And I know for a lot of people, it's hard to figure out, well, what kind of love, could Bill and the doctor have? Is this like a May, December kind of thing? No, I think that she honestly looked at him like a grandfather or a father, or, just that person that you care about implicitly, damn near unconditionally. She knew she needed the doctor. She knew the world needed the doctor. And yes, it's 100% selfish as hell that she was willing to sacrifice the world, 8 billion people, to save one dude. But when this dude is that important to the world and has saved the world countless times, over and over, has fended off all sorts of threats from all across the universe, on behalf of, he called himself the savior of this earth. I'm not saying the savior, but he said the earth is under his protection. Is that a dude that we can really sacrifice? That question is not for me to answer, it's for you to answer. I see why she did it. I don't know if I agree, but I see why she did it. Love in its healthiest form, they require respect for boundaries. And that's why love and consent are intertwined. They are forever connected. You have to respect someone else's boundaries. If you don't, is that love? Stalk much? And people think that that's love. They actually do. And I'm not saying that they have a mental deficiency, something wrong with them. But people see love, their version of love, in so many different forms that they have a real hard time understanding what is the true definition of love. Many of us do, because it might be something that you've never experienced before, you've never seen before. You might say, my parents have been married for 40 years and they still together. I remember a skit on In Living Color, we still together. Them two people hated each other. But I remember a song back in the day said, you say it's cheaper to keep her. What does love look like? Consent, just like respect, is active. It's freely agreeing to be in this situation. And it's crucial to all aspects of your relationship, not just sexual intimacy. That's not what we're talking about here today. It's easy to get lost in that sauce and think that's what we're talking about, but it's not. That is a bonus. That is an enhancement. A lot of us put the cart before the horse. And I am extremely guilty of being that in my younger days, I had been married for a long time, so that's not my active lifestyle now. I feel like I'm finally trying to figure out how to do it the right way. But before, you'd have all the sex in the world before love. If love even entered the building, he's like, I like you a little bit, you look good. That thing back there thinging, let's do this. But looking back, being mature, you see how empty that was, how hollow that was. For love to be genuine and healthy, it has to be built on mutual respect, open communication, and enthusiastic agreement. And I say enthusiastic because you have to want to be around your person. That does not mean that y'all have to do everything together all the time, but you have to take interest in what they're interested in. And that has to be reciprocated. You know, love being consent, it can't be coerced. It can't be manipulated. It's not a trade-off or an obligation. People get into relationships, people get in marriages, and they stay because they feel obligated. And I get it. And sometimes you have to be able to sit back and look at, when did you fall out of love? And if you did fall out of love, did you fall out of love? Or you're at a supreme point of out of like right now? There's people in my family that I love that I don't like. I don't like the attitude. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like the way they act. I'd just be rather they keep the hell away from me. But I love them. They family. Now, if this is somebody that you see every day that's in the house with you, then it needs to be a little bit different. And there does need to be mutual respect. It needs to be open communication, which can be a tough one, especially if one or both of you are not used to being open with your feelings and don't communicate very well. And then again, that enthusiastic agreement. At the end of the day, true love thrives when both partners feel empowered to make their own choices. And consent is key to ensuring that that person feels valued and respected in a relationship. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Make sure that you like this. Like the video. Share it as much as possible. And if you're feeling bold, or even if not the thing that you do often, leave me a comment. Let me know about what you thought. This episode was a little different, and for a trilogy, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I mean, it was okay. Extremist was so good that I expected more out of this episode. Maybe that's what it was. So hopefully we'll be able to land this plane on the next episode. And if for some reason you have not subscribed, stop playing, hit the button, subscribe, and then watch the other videos and see if there's something that resonates with you. Everything I watch, I use this. But it's even more important to use this.